focusing on God. Why are you trying to focus on other things that will bring you down? Because there are things that God did which are under his sovereignty. At some point, he healed people by a problem. You will hear that when they have misbehaved before God, when they have complained, they were sent some snakes which were biting people all over. His own people, they were bitten by snakes all over. And while that was happening, then God said to Moses, just take a brass and just go and make a big snake there. Then lift that snake. Whosoever who looks on that snake is going to live. And you will find out that those who had wisdom, they just looked on that snake. They did not question that why is it that this snake was sent there? Is this not a juju? Or is this not some gimmicks that we are seeing there? But they had wisdom. James chapter 1 verse 8, what does it say? Because most of us, we have double minds. We are not decided when it comes to the Lord. That is why the devil makes us pray always, because he knows these people, they are double-minded. We are defeated not because of the devil, but we are defeated because we are double-minded. Because there is one thing that I wanted to make it clear, that it's not every temptation that comes to us that comes from the devil. And God himself, he does not tempt people. We are not tempted by God himself. God, at all point, he has never tempted us. Not even in one man did he tempt. There are times that he allows temptation, but there are times that there is no devil, but it's you, but you are double-minded. Because you are having double minds. James chapter 1 verse 8. What does it say? Want to pray, want to go. James chapter 1 verse 8. What does it say? A double-minded man is unstable. We have people who have double minds. When you are worshiping God while here in the AFM, don't have a double mind that I think myself I must be in Assemblies of God now. But because it's a close place. You are double-minded. That's why we lose. Because you have a double mind. Double-minded people, they lose it all. Because you have a double mind. When the secret behind worshiping is simply having one mind. Lord, I'm here. I've come to worship you. I don't want to worship any other gods. I want to worship you. But the issue of us having double minds, it will end us in problems. Because the word is saying clearly, he should not expect anything from God. So sometimes when you pray, but they are not answered. Because already God is saying, while you are still having your double mind, I cannot give you anything. Don't expect anything from me. So most of us, we are defeated because we are double-minded. But when we have clear minds, those who have determined, that's why at some point you would sit down and say, Lord, I want to talk to you. When you pray and fast, you would say, Lord, I've determined that even if it's time for work, but I'm determined to follow you. You have set your mind straight to him. That's why you see that there are results. Sometimes we don't have results because we have double minds. If we continue to read the very same chapter, you will find out that James, he brings in the issues that he has to do with our response. That God does not tempt us. There are as many times we would think that God has tempted us. He never had tempted us. At all points, he never had tempted us. But in some areas, he allows. That is why we hear that Job was tempted by the devil, who was just roaming about, up and down, going up and down. Then he came across a Job, but he could not touch him. But when he had a conversation with God, that is when the devil mentioned of Job. When he mentioned of Job, it is not God who asked the devil that, can you go and tempt my son? Can you go and tempt You, God, as you are here, I know because you want to boast with your power that we may not touch your people, but I want to show you that these people, they don't like you, but they want me. He wanted to prove a point to an extent that God, because he's not a tyrannic God. He is a father, and he is a sovereign God. He gave the authority so that the devil will not give a blame to him. To say, you see this God, he doesn't gives us chance. We want to show him that these people, they don't like him. So some of the things the devil would request, and God would allow. But he don't just allow without giving you the strength. Chapter number 10, First Corinthians chapter number 10, verse 13, which speaks that the temptations that we receive, God has given us the power to overcome. May we stand up in the presence of God. We want to pray before the Lord. I know our time is up, but may God help us. He has given us enough power. He has given us the grace that of whatsoever we do encounter, He has given us the power that we may overcome, that we may go without hesitating. Because this God, He is a God who is there for us always. We have a lot of questions, but God is a God who loves us. He loves us. 1 Corinthians chapter number 10, verse 13. It says there is no temptation taken you but such as is common to men. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it. So there is a way for us to escape. There is a way for us to come out. Some of the challenges that we are pointing to people, or we are pointing to the devil, sometimes it's not him. Because the time when he arrives, you will sense or you will feel the impact. But despite of the impact, there is still a way that God has provided, that we must come out, that we must be out. Even if we encounter people who will try by all of the means to divert us, that is why we need each and every time to seek God's wisdom. Lord, give me your wisdom, because I don't want to perish. Because your word has spoken that those who walk with the Spirit of the Lord, they are called the sons of God. I am your child. Lead me and help me. May your Spirit take me to where I must have to be. Because by asking God's wisdom, I am giving Him His throne, His place, that myself I cannot, but He can. That's why you find out that there are some of the people, they do things not the very same way you do, but it looks like what they do is just small or it's little, but it has impact more than of you. There are some of the things that came on our way, but when we saw them, we thought they are going to overcome us, and yet God has given us the power to overcome and the ways to escape. Not even any one temptation that God has given us, whereby He has not given us the way to escape. We have been given ways to escape. Your issue, God has given you a way to escape. So there are times whereby you need to apply the wisdom that God has given you. Because the wisdom of God, you will not buy it by any money. You will not learn it from the university. The universities are there. The philosophers are there. But they will not find such kind of wisdom. That wisdom, it only comes from God. That is what James in the first chapter, he speaks of. That the one who has no wisdom, take it in verse 4 or verse 5. One without wisdom must learn to ask from God. You must ask. Don't try to prove yourself as you are when you have enough information, and yet you must ask for the wisdom. It must be asked from God. That I don't know how to deal with this situation, Lord, but I need you. I don't know how to partake of what is going to happen, but I need you. The wisdom of God will lead you where you are supposed to be led. There are things that the philosophers that they cannot solve. One way or the other, even if they try to stop, it won't stop. There are things that when they stand, they would want you to believe, but